You're listening to IsReal News, 3 daily briefings on the Middle East and on global developments.
From IsReal News, this is the morning briefing for Tuesday, April 21st. A critical day for U.S.-Iran diplomacy. President Donald Trump says he expects what he calls a great deal with Iran before the ceasefire expires. He tells CNBC the United States is in a strong position, says the blockade is working, and makes clear he does not want to extend the ceasefire beyond the coming day. He also says the U.S. military remains ready if no agreement is reached. A new report says the next round of talks may move to a higher level. According to the Associated Press, Pakistani mediators have received confirmation that Vice President J.D. Vance and Iranian Parliament Speaker Mohammad Bagher Ghalibaf are expected in Islamabad tomorrow for negotiations. But there are already signs of possible trouble in the talks. Israeli officials are preparing for the possibility that the negotiations could break down. Iranian officials are warning they have prepared what they call new cards on the battlefield. Trump says removing highly enriched uranium from Iran would be a long process that will take time. One of the major disputes remains how long Iran would freeze uranium enrichment and whether its highly enriched stockpile would be moved out of the country. The Pentagon says U.S. forces have seized an oil tanker linked to Iran and already under sanctions. And on social media, Trump says the Iranian regime has violated the ceasefire agreement numerous times, just 24 hours before it is set to expire. Inside Iran, authorities carry out another execution. State media say a man accused of leading a network tied to Israeli intelligence and of setting fire to a mosque in Tehran during anti-regime unrest has been put to death. In Lebanon, the Israeli military is taking disciplinary action after a soldier was filmed damaging a statue of Jesus in a Christian village. The soldier who struck the statue and the soldier who filmed it are both removed from combat duty and sentenced to 30 days in military prison. The Army says the conduct was a complete violation of orders and values and says other soldiers who witnessed the incident will also face review. The military says it deeply regrets the damage and stresses its operations in Lebanon are directed against Hezbollah, not civilians. Northern Command is now working to help the local community replace the damaged statue. The Chief of Staff and the Northern Commander both condemn the act, and Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and Foreign Minister Gideon Sa'ar also issue apologies to the Christian world. A cultural backlash is building against Israel ahead of Eurovision. More than 1,000 musicians have signed an open letter calling for a boycott of the contest over Israel's participation. The letter accuses the European Broadcasting Union of double standards, but another open letter released over the weekend backs Israel's participation, calling attempts to boycott Israeli musicians disgraceful. At a Memorial Day ceremony, Mossad Chief David Barnea reveals new details about a fallen operative identified only as M. Barnea says the agent who died outside Israel several years ago played a major role in operations that significantly influenced the campaign against Iran. A former senior Mossad official says M led complex missions aimed at disrupting Iran's unconventional capabilities. There are also tensions at home during Israel's memorial observances. At a military cemetery in Isfahan, a resident shouts at Energy Minister Eli Cohen, accusing the government of sending more soldiers into reserve duty. At Kiryat Shaul Cemetery, bereaved families hold signs reading "Government of Death" during remarks by the absorption minister. And on Wall Street, stocks edge higher as investors respond to Trump's renewed optimism about a deal with Iran. The Dow rises about 200 points, while the S&P and NASDAQ also post gains. Oil prices remain relatively steady ahead of the ceasefire deadline after sharp declines in recent days. Those are the latest headlines from IsReal News.
Follow IsReal News for 3 daily briefings. Fast, factual, and to the point.